Recording the first ever podcast, turn a little bit this way, in-person podcast. Mr. Mike Bennett, you were sitting in the podcast chair on, it's so weird doing that on Wednesday, August 13th, 2025 at 2:44 p.m. Eastern time. You guys can go to the description. You can follow him. You can go buy his books, all that good shit. Um, yeah, no, we'll just kind of riff on what you're just talking about. I don't have a second chair, so I'm using, I think this was like my great grandmother's chair. I have no idea if I'm going to fall through this wicker thing at like any moment.
My mother made one just like it with the
Um,
wicker.
Yeah, no, but just here. I don't know how we're gonna do this. I don't know. We'll put it here. They don't need to see
No,
me.
no.
So as long as they can hear me. Yeah, but were you just talking about it? Did you not know I had Dale on?
No.
Oh, he just.
But no, no, I think I saw.
I only say that because probably the single guest that has appeared the most times
Wow.
of everyone. I mean, Dale's. I would say probably over
And you
like
said you met him.
yeah. In 2022, we got a fundraiser thrown for Joe Kent, and Dale flew out.
Who now is
Is the head of the NCTC, right? And
oh
fucking talk about like to me proof of God, right? He loses his wife, he runs for office twice, he's a widower to two sons, and both times don't work, and then he gets appointed to be the head of the National Counterterrorism Center,
and eventually gets
and he will be the fucking president one day. But like, oh yeah, and he gets remarried.
what is it when the Congress does
What?
not commission
Confirmed? Confirmation?
confirmation?
Yeah, yeah, no, and he
Yeah,
is like the top dog of that shit now. And like yeah, but Dale came out and yeah, me being me, I don't know how to handle myself. So they're all like, militant, they're just shooting. My buddy's got all these guns, shoot like an M60, M249. And the only time I ever hung out with Dale, I got so fucked up. I
no,
fell
no.
fell
Where
in a
was it?
window well.
Where,
This was down in Maryland.
where
I was in Maryland for several years. So I was in Georgia from 2001 to 2016. Lost my brother to suicide in 2014. Moved back home with my parents who were in Maryland, but they were just there for my dad's
what
job.
part of Maryland?
Ocean City.
Okay.
So we had no fucking roots there.
Yeah.
And we were there, and that's where I started the podcast. And that's
So
what
where was Dale?
Dale was in Maryland.
Yeah, no, I used to live in Beltsville,
I don't know. I never like
which
left
is
Ocean
so
City.
here's the
Oh well, Dale lives in Bali. Dale Ball like the country Bali. Dale lives on the other side of the planet.
okay, okay.
But I think he has like he's still an author. He does acting and shit. I think he has like personal training clients. Dale has like 10 they did like nuclear security.
Yeah.
I think he still does shit with like training canines and mercenaries and shit. But it was just a matter. I think Dale had known Joe through some, not the CIA wink, but like that. And so he came out and so yeah, yeah. And so my buddy has this big place and a huge tract of land, all these guns, and he likes Dale. He
Yeah.
loves watching him. He's like, yeah, I'll meet Dale. And so he comes out there, and a couple other of my friends, like Don. Don was a Marine artillery GWAT. He drove out from Texas. It was just a big thing. And that's when I got so fucked up and I fell in a window well and hit my head on a rock and they had to take me to the hospital.
Okay.
And yeah, and so well no, no, the other guys, the Marines, I was bleeding all over the place and I was like no, I was like, am I gonna die? And they're like, no, you fucking pussy.
And
And I just kept telling Don, I go,
rub some dirt on
I
it.
go, if I die, my mom's gonna be so mad at you. And they were like, they did them there. Can you feel your limbs? Can you do all
Yeah.
that? Dale
You're good to go.
Dale had gone to bed like at a normal time, like a normal human being. And well, Dale's anything but. And I was like, I'm gonna go wake up Dale. And they went, if you wake up Dale, you're gonna die.
You're
They go,
not gonna be happy
I
to
was
see
like, I'll
that.
just go shake him awake. They're like, he is going to muscle memory stab you. And I was like, motherfucker, that is true. So naturally I didn't die, but that's actually what led to me stop drinking and shit. But yeah, no, Dale's a Dale's a crazy fucking guest. But even
We've been talking like
I don't know,
the
an
last
hour.
hour
Yeah.
about half of the shit.
Yeah, and I keep bringing I'm not on camera yet. We're sitting. Because I have another microphone over there, but it's set up to the other computer. I probably should have brought it over here, but whatever. It'll
I think you
suffice.
can pick it up.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Is it a directional? Has
Yeah,
to
I don't
be
know.
this
I
way.
have no idea.
Because if it is, you won't
Yeah, whatever.
point it towards me.
We'll fucking figure it out. It's gonna record something, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
And if it doesn't, we'll just fucking do it again. But like, yeah, no, I don't know how any of this tech. People are like, you must really know the podcast realm. I'm like, not at all. I have no fucking idea how any of this shit works, dude. I don't know what it is, um, but what I do. Let's shift it back to what you're talking about. Is when you look at something like, especially here in Portland, you can see it like like the fentanyl tilt
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
whatever, and the biggest, and you go, well, why would anyone do this? Well, on the easiest answer you immediately look at, you go, well, I get the whole, you get 20 million new voters and they're all for Democrat. That much, again, it's evil, but I understand it tactically. The step past that, though, like, what do we get from them hollowing out our cities and using our emergency services? Because that's not even like capitalist fat cat. Like, I get the whole, okay, get laborers, pay them for less. Again, it's not right, but I understand it. When you go, what is the value to them coming and eroding the cities? Well, to me, it's if you can't take on the United States toe to toe, carrier for carrier, missile for missile,
Yeah. So, I mean,
flood them with 10 million fucking migrants who just want food.
what we were talking about is, this just doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
This is coming from a nation state uh, that is funding these efforts because it does benefit them.
Yeah.
To our disadvantage. To put us at a disadvantage puts them at great advantage.
Mm-hmm.
It gives them leverage because we have to fucking deal with internal problems and spend money doing so. So it's going to require our nation state response, which is
Resources,
what's going on now.
Services, yeah.
So yeah, this administration is certainly taking a different approach to solving a problem, has long-term effects. And the other thing we were talking about, just the average person that may or may not be paying attention. First thing I'm flabbergasted why they're not. How is this not important to you? If you're having children in this country,
Yeah.
And you want your children to have good things and live a good life, how can you permit this? How is this acceptable? And I think eventually the two parties somehow we're going to have to get them both.
On the off chance that this microphone isn't picking shit up,
You're going to
I'm
record
just
on
gonna throw
that.
it in here too, so we'll have missed the first 10 minutes, but
Yeah,
just I think it will, but just so it's not all for naught.
we'll see what happens.
Sorry, keep going.
This will be exciting.
Yeah, there we go. There's the flattering.
There we go.
Yeah.
Anyway,
requires a nation state response. They're doing something that requires a long-term
finally, and it's not just the past administration. It's 40 years minimum
kicking the can down
of doing nothing and accepting this erosion that just kept creeping. And you wake up in 2025 in Portland, Maine. I grew up in Maine when I was a kid.
Like 30,000 Somalis. What the fuck are they doing in Maine?
This is a different place now.
Yeah.
Demographically, certainly.
But even though there's an importance in that.
Culturally is much, I mean, it was still liberal, say in the 80s. Yeah. It was liberal. But liberalism really was kind of defined as, I'm anti-nuke.
Yeah, anti-nuke.
I'm against nukes.
Yeah, maybe we shouldn't be toppling. It was more reasonable. But I was gonna say though, even how you said that, like demographically different, as somebody that was born in 1990, grew up in the post-Soviet, we're all one people. You can tell in the way we speak, even you and I by ourselves in private, there is a hesitation where people go, well, demographically, we've been taught that is evil. Yes. And it's not evil. It's
a fact of life.
But it's what it is. And like,
But it's not just skin color. It comes down to nationality. Where do these people come from? They're different.
Whatever it is. Let's say there's no Somalis. Let's say they're all just Irish like me. Even that, the very fact that we have it instilled into us subconsciously to even hesitantly say the word.
Right.
Even if it's good. What if it's all Asians who bring up the idea?
Even if it's factually correct.
The very act of mentioning it causes people to go, I don't know. That alone is, well, that's the first thing.
That is conditioning. We have
absolutely
conditioned.
That's my point is like,
right.
It doesn't make you a sack of shit for pointing it out. Right. You can just say, you go, well, hey, why is this happening?
Yeah.
Why do we have to do this? And right there, you can see the veneer that keeps you from approach. So why do most people my age, I turned 35 last week. Like, why do people my age, right?
Young kid.
I know, right? Why do people, well, a lot of them, they're not in the middle of a city like this. And a lot of them, it's not ignorance. They know it's there. And I'm not passing, maybe I should, I'm not passing judgment, but I think a lot of them, it's not in my line of sight. I got the kid. I'm working,
Yeah.
and that's not the way to go about it. It's the same. That's the same
If
logic
you
that
are
gets you.
fortunate enough, say you live in Montana,
Yeah,
and you're out in the sticks somewhere, and yeah, you're right. They don't see this on a daily basis,
sure.
per se. They may, um, so they can live that
It's
lifestyle.
seductive to put your head in the sand.
But the ones that do live in the cities, see that's what's funny. Look what's going on in New York City right now. Look who they're contemplating uh,
Yeah,
hiring as the
yeah, it's
mayor.
the fucking 20th hijacker.
I
Like,
mean, this guy is a Marxist.
yeah,
No doubt about it. He's
yeah.
made all these public and uh, it's really kind of amazing. The liberal mind, and I know there's a lot of people say on Twitter that are Jewish, and they say, okay, I'm this kind of Jewish person, and then there's all these kind of liberal Jewish people that we really don't understand. You know, these fuckers over here in Gaza want to kill you.
Yeah.
What part of that don't you understand? So there's kind of like these two factions of
Yeah.
the Jewish, but in say New York City, very liberal, right? Of that Jewish population, they're about ready to hire this Muslim dude that has very clear leanings that you would think, you would just think that would be exactly as a Jewish voter, you would say, well, I don't know if that guy really is going to represent me very well.
Even if he's saying this just by virtue of the fact of like definitionally their utopia is what's the quote? Once you kill every Jew behind every, and I know that because one of my best friends is Jewish, and he always says like they want to.
But so we're talking about this whole thing.
Yeah.
This is many generations of rot, and it goes back to education. I do remember Pledge of Allegiance to the United States, all that good stuff, and communism was bad. There was no discussion otherwise in a school environment, in a public school environment.
Fucking commies.
They were bad.
Yeah.
Kill a commie for mommy.
Yeah. Kill a commie.
So, I mean,
the absence of borders, find something communist.
A mindset in the 70s is entirely different than what you have today. Why? Because with this erosion, generally speaking, you could track it. Here's a line. And the parallel line is the education system just, here following right along. But your peers, your age group peers, look at you like a hog looking at a wristwatch. Like, what the fuck is going on with this guy? Why is
I'm very aware.
He's crazy.
Trust me. The friends I've had have diminished by about 98% since I've said such things as I think a border is good. Such controversial thoughts.
I'm telling you, man. It's kind of interesting, and the point all we're saying is, we as Americans need to wake up and understand that this is unacceptable in America. You talk about, say, pick on the Somalis, Lewiston.
Sure.
Lewiston here. I didn't know there was that much here, but apparently. I knew.
Well, I've interviewed Mike Durant, and
I knew it was big in Lewiston.
I just always want to call him skinnies because Mike Durant called his MP5 a skinny popper.
Skinny.
That's what I was thinking of.
But
not to pick on demographics, but you said Somalis, Lewiston. Not addressing it, my age group. We don't want to, or my. I
don't know what the fuck I was thinking.
No.
There was a point. It's gone.
No. My peers, they look at me like you said, like a hog looking at a wristwatch. Why do I say such things that shouldn't be controversial? Like America, it's good to have a border. Like these basic things that it has been nailed into us that to oppose this in any way, shape, or form is far worse than what the actual thing is.
It's just the weirdest thing. I just but it's been
if 9/11 happened today, my generation would be so quick, even after the third plane crash, to say let's not jump to Islamophobic conclusions. That's the reality.
Well, that was really one of the funny things. So when 9/11 occurred, almost immediately we go into this Islamophobia. Again, let's call a spade in that it's incontrovertible that this kind of person attacked us, and this is why.
Per capita, they tend to blow themselves up more than Irish people. That's maybe a bad example because Irish car bombs.
And they want to
destroy law. They destroy
everywhere.
Our country is hell to them. It's the perversion of God's will.
I guess what I was going to say is, why are we at a point in the history of our country? Irish.
Yeah.
So was I.
Yeah.
Supposedly, you go way back when. Well, and we were a problem. The Irish people were a problem to the whoever that was more prevalent. But we assimilated.
Yeah.
It was you came here, and we have an understanding that you, although you bring your culture with you, and we respect that, and it's great, your religion, whatever.
Yeah.
But we
American.
do want you to become an American.
Well, yeah.
And your loyalty is not back to Somalia, as one particular congressperson
Yeah.
state,
Yeah. He said that
right?
last week, and we need
Which
it.
is, this is a person of authority, and that is unacceptable.
Yeah.
That is an unacceptable statement. Retract it immediately. And I don't know how you fire these people, once they're elected, whatever.
Yeah.
But that was the deal. You came here from wherever you came from. You came here for a better life. We understand that.
Yeah,
and you will work for that better life. We will give you a hand up for a period of time that is reasonable.
Yeah.
And then you're on your own.
Yeah.
But in that process, you're going to absorb the culture here and become part of it.
Yeah. Well,
that has gone away completely.
Well, I mean, even my family came through this city like 150, 200 years ago. Carrigans, like, I'm Thomas Patrick Carrigan. I'm fluorescent white. I've never been to Ireland. I am.
He's worse than me, man.
I've never been to Ireland. I mean, Irish Catholic. I've never been to Ireland. I don't think any of my family has.
Hey,
it's what I mean is like, are we Irish? Yeah, sure.
Yeah, huh? I'm American.
Yeah, but I'm American, dude. My great uncle's on D-Day. My uncle's in Vietnam. Fucking another uncle's a ranger who's in Somalia, or a cousin was a ranger in Somalia. Kerrigans go back to fighting for the fucking Union Army. Like, I look at that and I go, are we still Irish? Yeah, sure. Am I Catholic? Am I sure? All these things. But you don't see me coming out on podcast and going, but most importantly,
yes,
how does Ireland view me and my loyalty to them? No, I've never been there, and I don't want to go.
Why would Ireland, as an example, why would they have any expectation at all that you had loyalty to them?
Exactly, unless I knew.
It's not rational. It's not rational. Again, it goes back to, why are we accepting irrational ideology and thought? Why does it not get crushed?
I think everything we're talking
about is the stupidest fucking thing I have heard all day. Shut up. Go stand in the corner.
I think it all, if I had to just like an overarching, like, what is the tide that's rising all the ships, or rising is the bad because that implies good, but changing the elevation of the ships.
Yes.
I think it's something that happens on a greater than human lifespan of 50 to 80 years. I really do think a lot of it is probably detachment that comes from wealth. And this happens throughout cycles of humanity, from the Persian Empire to the fucking Hittites to Alexander the Great to whatever, to Egypt, to the pyramids, to here. I think what happens is you have, like my grandparents and great grandparents, it's like, Great Depression, Dust Bowl, World War I, World War II. You have that, and you see how fucked up reality itself is at face value, and that, as Dale always says, we are the warring ape. Then you come back and you do shit right. You have a big family because you appreciate being alive, and you work your ass off, and yes ma'am, no sir, and you do all that. And then as that goes, and the next generation, it's not as bad, and the next generation, then you have my generation, where born in 1990 and born at the peak of human civilization. I literally just, I don't know anything but, like, the 96 Bulls and like Bill Clinton, like, it's the internet boom. And you are me, you're detached from reality. You and your parents, even though they work hard, they're also, to a degree, detached, because we've just been living in the land of milk and honey. And so what happens
but,
is,
I mean,
but the thing is, on a long enough timeline, the biggest things you find bothersome, because you've always had food, water, a door that locks, and emergency services, is you take such things as bigotry as the end all be all, and that should be avoided more than these other dangers that you've never experienced, like hunger, like insurgencies, like guerrilla warfare, because they are all alien to you and your family tree.
Okay, but why would you not want to preserve this nirvana, for your children and whatnot? I want to keep the bad shit away. So, I mean, that's what I'm saying.
No, I'm with
you. These things are important.
No, a rational thought is we should preserve
You
this.
you don't want to let the bad people in.
My
Keep that shit out.
my point is though is they don't even view that because they have no taste or feeling of it. To them, the bad is being racist. No, you're objectively correct. This should be preserved.
Well,
They don't know that. They're the trust fund kid. They don't know what it's like to.
or they're the ones that think, well, the government will take care of me and everything is free, and then I can do all this. I can do all this free thinking about bigotry and
Exactly. It's what you do when everything else is taken care of.
Reality, yes. And those people, and you meet a lot of them. They're not employed. They're getting a paycheck. EBT.
What did you say when you walked in here? You're like, yeah, this city has changed. I go, this city, not this building, because this building, and you're not going to talk to me. By this building is all people twice my age. He lives in this. I'll kill us both. Everyone in this building is more than twice my age and probably makes 10 times my income. So why is this building good? Because it's a bunch of people that don't want it. Who's outside this building? A bunch of fuckers with neon hair. You can probably see them out there. You can probably watch in the time of doing this. You will see somebody nod off on the sidewalk. Those are the fucking idiots who, even then, when they're covered in their own shit and haven't showered in a week and they're looking for the next fucking Suboxone, they will then turn without a hint of irony and tell you that the biggest threat to this country is how Elon Musk stole the 2024 election via Starlink. That's what I mean. They don't look at our southern border of an invading army.
We'll say a personal example of someone I know who came to this country from a different country, an immigrant, was my ex, and she is from.
You can put it wherever. I don't know. I drink a lot of water.
She's from South Africa. Whole family is, and it's kind of a cool story. I guess the first of her family. So they grew up in Durban, South Africa, during, kind of that rift of apartheid. So real bad times. And South Africa is a very violent place now, but it was then too. And the mother, the matriarch of the family, was smart enough to know we need to get the fuck out.
Yeah.
So she started kind of kicking the kids, get to America somehow. And I don't really remember how one of them, the first one that came here, I guess she met a man, whatever, in the Air Force, married, boom, they go in the country. Next thing you know, the brother comes, same thing, but he goes immediately into the Air Force. Eventually, citizenship, all that good stuff. And then my girl, same thing, goes into the Air Force. So they pay their dues. They got the citizenship, yada yada. Now they're all three American citizens. Mm-hmm. They came here with the right attitude, knowing I'm leaving kind of a shithole, a third world, very violent place, and I'm going to a place where life is better, and I'm going to make a contribution to that. Mm-hmm. So there are still people that do this.
I have two friends from Eastern Europe who are like American dream.
They come here and they like,
fuck yeah.
I need to appreciate that. This is a good thing.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna fuck this up. I don't want to go back. I remember doing a ski trip out in Colorado, 5-7 years ago, whatever. And the deal was you go to the mountain and they had a bus at the hotel or something that went downtown. So it's just a little ways, and you'd take this little bus and you'd go to the bars or you go to the restaurants and whatnot. And then you'd get on the bus at X time and go back. So the bus driver was a guy from Poland, very thick accent. And I remember, I was one of the only people, and I sat in the front and I started just to talk to him because, I had heard the accent as I came in. And I asked him where he's from, yada, yada. And, he tells me this whole story. And the bottom line, the whole story was, I came to this country with nothing. And I have, and he kind of lists pretty modest, but he's very proud of what he had. And he knew he only had it is kind of being a good American guy sort of thing. And he was very proud. And he loved America, and it just came out of his pores, the sincerity. And I was like, God damn, that is what I'm fucking talking about. this is the kind of person we want to come here. This is the deal. You come here, you accept certain things, and you're going to miss back home,
Sure.
whatever. Of course you are. But, do your best to conform kind of within the structure, make a contribution, and guess what? Life is good.
Yeah.
Life can be very, very good for you. So I mean, you really got to like that sort of thing when you see it. They're still out there.
Yeah,
and they're welcome. They're most welcome.
Oh, fuck yeah, they are.
They're
optimal.
Yeah, we want you to come
They're
here.
They're preferable.
Well, I mean, it can
Well, I mean,
sadly,
compared to some
it can be
compared to some shitheads like my age who were born here. My friend Ivan Georgia
that have no appreciation of.
Yeah, no. My friend Ivan Georgia, 6'4" bodybuilder from Sofia, Bulgaria. He got his green card. He and I worked security at a bar in 2011 in Maryland. Eventually moved here after how many summers of working his visa. Got his degree. He's a bodybuilder. He's huge in Vegas. Another guy, Prince Blackosh, is from Kosovo. Survived through the war as a kid. Same thing, green card over several summers of working here. Became a physical therapist in New York, started a shipping business, and he just opened an Italian restaurant in Austin. And these are both guys they look like movie characters because whenever you see them, American flag hat, they're number one.
Yeah.
And I'm like, not only are they welcome, like they are prefer. I love America. I think they love it more than I do, and I think I love them. I go. That is what this is built on. It's people. It doesn't mean they don't love their families back home. It doesn't mean any of that shit.
So when I grew up, actually, America was kind of in its downturn just after. So you had Vietnam, you had Watergate,
Nixon,
right? One other thing, but I can't think of it.
Iranian hostages, Carter. The whole thing is kind of
yes. So you had this spate of the 70s, really a lot of bad stuff,
a lot of crazy shit domestically.
But oddly, we're talking about under Rusty York's. We won't talk about the story. 1976, or 1976, the 200th bicentennial.
Yeah.
America, like you just wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
This stuff.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
I have some bicentennial corners.
Just everyone celebrating. I mean, this is just after Vietnam, just after we're kind of at a pretty fucking low point. But there still was a feeling of great patriotism. And then you swung, you came out of the Iranian crisis and you hit Reagan.
Morning in America.
And then America starts to come back.
Yeah. And
people start to believe, the economy starts going crazy and all that kind of good stuff. So we had 8 years of going up for most metrics.
Sure.
Yeah, and then I'm going to say, the 90s, kind of a reversal. So I think it's, what can the president do? When you really look at the authority of the president, really not a lot, nor should he, him, I don't care. But one thing they can do is lead and set some priorities that actually matter. And I think we're getting a little bit more back to that. There is no reason, none at all, that we should not protect our borders.
Right.
And be very mindful of who comes in and wants to become part of this nation.
Yeah.
It'd be stupid not to. If I had a club of people, the People Dudes Club, whatever, I'd be very discerning who I want to let into the club.
As a bouncer in college, that's the entire thing, is that there's one door and you control who comes in. That's what makes the quality of the club.
And the quality of that evening.
Yeah.
Two girls, one guy. Somehow matches the who you let in.
Of that club.
Yeah. You didn't let dirtbags in.
No.
There were no fights that evening. It's a good time.
You gotta wear shoes. You can't be covered in blood. You gotta have a shirt on. You gotta basic shit.
Man, you're no fun.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. But But you have, and I think so. Then it's like, well, why are they turned around? It's like, well, a lot of it's nefarious, foreign nation states, right? You want to subvert. I get that. You also have the detachment that comes from wealth of kind of let them eat cake. But then you also have more of a, and it's not honorable, but I understand it in terms of pragmatism. You're in office. If it's something you think you can kick that can down the road, you're going to do it. We saw it with a nuclearized Korean peninsula. You see these things. An Iranian deal. Just keep kicking it down the road. Keep kicking it down the road. It eventually gets to a point where you can no longer kick it down the road, and the reversal. It's like getting sober, or it's like losing weight. Like the ride down is very fun.
Have you ever just, in everyday life met, super millionaires and whatnot? You may not.
I think I've interviewed like
they might be in their own little world.
yeah.
I would just say, I haven't met a lot, but the ones that I
See,
have,
the three I've met are like hyper patriotic.
yes, and again, it's not a lot, and I'll even go back. I go to Whistler in the winter, same kind of thing. You've got these houses, they're just insane.
Yeah.
They're $6, $7, $8 million houses along the golf course. And when I ride my bike to the gym, and I go by these insane houses, and I'm not jealous. And I said, oh, I'm resentful that whoever that person is has that house. My general assumption is they did something. Even, maybe their parents, I don't know, whatever. They did something to earn money to live in this thing. And maybe that's only their summer home or winter home, whatever. They did something to earn that. The people that I have met and spoken to, and actually I won't say his name, a famous celebrity, Hollywood person in Whistler. And the guy's just like normal person, same kind of desires you have, anyone else has, family, whatnot, and fairly humble. And this is not one of the more liberal actors that and you would be, that makes sense. But generally speaking, these kind of people that have that wealth are not even that really, really high level. Say the 300,000, to 200,000 to that's a lot of money. They're hardworking people. And that's really it. They're just people that have applied. They might have more talent.
But that's also, life's not fair.
God has endowed certain people with certain attributes.
Get over it.
And
fucking get over it.
Sorry.
That's what it is.
I can't do math if it fucking hit me in the head.
Calculus 3 times.
I'm horrible.
Yeah.
And it hasn't hurt me yet. But people apply themselves with whatever talent they're given, or they just crush it with hard work.
Yes.
There are people like that too.
You can just brute force it.
They brute force it, and they aspire to be great, and they have greatness.
Yeah.
And even within their means, maybe greatness at that person, let's say the guy has a level 8 in talent, but he's a level 10 in effort and perseverance and character, all that stuff. And I'm going to kill it.
Yeah.
Until it dies.
Yeah.
And I walk away with it over my shoulder and
I'll conquer.
Hey, have at it. Have it. So there are people like that. We still have them in this country. This country is by far, I think what I was thinking earlier, you're talking about these other, one thing that helped me a lot, that's what I was getting at with so in the 70s, I'm growing up and there's all this kind of stuff going on. But what really helped me kind of go to the next level was go in the military, go see these other countries, go somewhere and see how they live, what they do. And when you get a deployment, Kosovo, whatever, I went into Bosnia.
Yeah.
And you
see it.
You're driving around these people, savages were literally impaling human beings on a fence post.
Yeah.
Because of the hatred between Croat versus Serb. And when you drive by a building that is just pockmarked.
With shells and guns.
Iraq, Afghanistan. And you see these things over and over and over, where other people live and how they live and this sort of thing. And then you come back here, you know.
And but that's one thing I've kind of gleaned from the show is like, you know, Mike Durant, you, the Deltas, the hundreds of guests have had every level from you know grunt to general. What I have across the board, everyone's different. They all have different tastes and shit. They all have different. It's very clear they have, you know, all the military, the discipline, the character. Not, I don't mean like, oh, mostly. Mostly is like 90%. I mean virtually. I mean 100 out of 100. They all, to some degree or another, on the show or off air, like a conversation we're having, it always comes down to some level of like, you don't know what you have. Not directed at me, but in terms of like you.
Absolutely.
And when I see that many, you know, what is it? When 9 out of 10 doctors recommended toothpaste, you get it. When 100 out of 100 fucking veterans, I'll say like, you know, or sometimes I'll make a joke about.
Like, so that is the most extreme example where you see really bad things.
Yeah.
Even if you're a tourist,
sure,
and you leave this country,
sure,
and of course you go all the tourists. You know, don't go to the
resort.
Don't go to the tourist places. You want to go to the Caribbean, go inside the inland part of the Caribbean islands and say, oh, wow, this is really not that great. Now, the place that had the really
Sandals resort.
The rich people go and they drink
by fucking guys with banana clips.
Yeah, it's very nice.
That ain't it though.
But you know,
that's a postcard.
Anybody, if you go to whatever, go into a city, go into their shit slum. Of course, you can't carry, but you got to see things somewhere else to kind of really come back and say, wow, this is a pretty fucking good deal. Yeah.
And the thing is you don't even have to do that. That is a good way to get a wake-up call, but you can very simply, I've never been abroad where I can just interview people, even before I did the podcast, just reading.
Yes.
And you'd go, yeah, it kind of seems like I have a dope setup here in this country. I kind of
sort of.
You just start to look at it, you go,
let me get this book.
Yeah, you're good. You kind of start to appreciate it and go, I'm pretty sure it's better here.
I think it's okay.
I'm starting to think it's not hell on earth to live in America.
It's not bad.
And so even that comes down to like, so it's like, well then, so I was saying earlier, like the path to like gaining weight is fun. It's McDonald's. The path to losing it is there is no shortcut. One day you just gotta go, I just have to eat less and I'm going to be hungry and I have to go to the gym. And it just sucks. But once you finally start doing it, and it's a very long delay, it's not instant gratification like a Big Mac. It's months later, you start to feel better. And I think that's kind of what we're seeing right now.
So look at me. About this time last year, I was 200, but say 6 months before that, I would say 210.
Yeah.
The highest I got to was about 218.
I was 230 last November. I'm 189 now.
And I'm about 189, 190.
Yeah.
And that's all it was.
And there's no shortcut.
How did I do that? It's magic. Fucking magic, man. I ate less. You know,
less condiments. Don't drink sugar.
Yeah.
Don't drink your calories.
Yeah.
Sleep. Yeah. Go to the gym. Fill up on vegetables. Low calories. High filling.
Yeah.
My point is though,
it's not. It can be done. It can be done.
So my point is, and we all know that's what we have to do. But if you don't want to turn that corner because you go, this sucks. It's not a pill. It's not something. Or getting sober. I was on, having all the problems after the concussion. Then I went on a gabapentin because it helped with the concussion and the anxiety. And then I had to wean off gabapentin in January of last year. I didn't talk about this all the time on the show. I literally checked myself into like a rehab because I was like, I need medical help to get off this because if you go cold turkey off this shit, it can kill you from seizures.
I'm telling you, man.
I
am so happy that I've never had anything where I.
So my point is was that fun? No, not at all. It's very humbling. And actually, I keep the blue hospital pants as like a reminder of like that was 17 months ago today. Okay, so it can be done. It's these very long things though that when you make that, now I'm one person, you're one person, you go, I'm going to diet. There's no group of Mike Bennett's who are like, but I don't want to diet. Now imagine you're in a country where there are a lot of people and somebody gets up and goes, okay, so it's going to kind of suck for a little bit. You're going to be really angry at me, but we're going to button up the border. We have to bring manufacturing back. There are going to be things called tariffs. You can call me a racist, all of that shit. The reality is it ain't so hot right now. That's what he's doing. And somebody I think he's doing what Trump has a lot of flaws, but I think he's doing what someone eventually has to do. You go, hey, you can fucking hate me.
His biggest problem,
well, his ego is bigger than the sun.
But how he communicates and how effectively.
It's not good.
I mean, and the perfect example is tariffs. And the point that he's trying to make is these guys have gotten away with decades of just screwing us. And you should be able to protect yourself. It's not hard to understand that that's what they've done. And this is not retribution. This is not revenge. But we're going to have this.
Bring it up even.
We're going to have a reciprocal arrangement that is no longer to your great advantage, where I'm at a disadvantage. We're going to get an equilibrium. I mean, and the way you could do it, and he kind of sort of did. Ironically, one of his best speeches where he's making a point, he got shot. He's got the thing.
He's the definition of no good deed goes unpunished. Take a look over, bam.
He's got he's got the screen and it's got numbers. It's got a fucking graph, and he's reading from the thing.
That's a good point.
He's not extemporaneously just
they're all
rumbling. No, he's disciplined. In his actual, he's
never going to do it again. He's been Pavlovianly trained. I brought my sources one time and I got shot in the face.
He just shot. I'm like, now, if he did that
every day,
habitually,
he'd be so much better at it.
Or even sometimes say, hey, I don't want to talk. So and so, the glib person here that can speak very well and succinctly and get the point. This guy's going to talk, and bam.
But he can't do that.
But he can't do that. And then it's 29 minutes later, and
they're all racist. And China called me, and they love me, and I think Xi Jinping's gay, and I'm not gay, but I respect his lifestyle. Melania told me, and you're like, dude, it's funny, but dude, you gotta,
because your enemy's going to take this one little soundbite, and what are you going to see on the 6 o'clock news tonight? You're going to see this one fucked up soundbite.
People who work all day and have 5 kids, they don't have time to go see the whole thing.
Correct.
They're not even wrong.
They don't care.
Kind of being mad at
they don't care.
They're not even wrong to be like, that's not very presidential.
Yeah. So
that's the funniest
second term, man.
No, that's the funniest fucking observation I've never thought of. One day he did the right thing. He stopped swearing. He showed up to school early, and he decided to start eating fruits and vegetables. And that day, somebody shot him. He went, "That's God's punishment."
No more, man. I'm going back.
He tried once.
I'm telling you.
He tried once. We almost that's the fucking
so that's my major gripe. Also, okay. So you have this thing called the election, then what precedes it is the campaign. Invariably in the United States of America, during campaigns, politicians make promises.
Yeah.
And then one guy says this, I'm going to one up that. And by the time you get to the end of the campaign,
you're promising
the vote, okay, great. All right. So there's a list of things. I said these 25 things, whatever it is. Trust me, someone wrote that shit down. It's on video. 25 things. Boom. Okay. People vote and they say, this is the guy. Okay. So once you're in office, unless there's just the sky, don't keep promising more shit. You have a list of 25 and they're going to fucking hold you to it, because the midterm's just coming up. And, he said, the midterm for Senator Susan Collins, whoever, somebody, it's going to be, well, Trump said, that's what the election for the midterms is going to be. Never mind 2028.
Yeah.
So that's another thing, shut down the promise machine, do the math, have a spreadsheet of all the shit is going to cost, don't keep adding to it because you're just digging a hole for yourself.
I kind of think it's inseparable. You ever hear about the stories about how Michael Jordan used to be on the Bulls plane and he would start taking a tally. They'd all bet whose luggage came out first on the pure lottery, right? There's no merit.
But these are people with too much money that don't know what to do with.
But even then, they'd still be betting $20. Michael Jordan would get off the plane and go talk to the fucking workers and go, put my bag first. And you look at that, you go, you're worth $1 billion. Why did you need $20 more? And you go, you know what? It's probably that insane win drive that gets you a Michael Jordan. I'm not defending it.
Winning everything.
I think what gets you Trump,
yes,
this is the baggage. Is you go, he also doesn't know how not to call Rosie O'Donnell a fat bitch. The very thing that gets you billions of dollars in a penthouse and deals and he steals and is also the thing that makes you go, shut up. I don't think you can separate the two.
Stop.
Plug your book. I'm going to fill this up. And
you heard, he said plug the book.
It's your show.
It's my show. I am in the fucking podcast seat. And I'm wearing my favorite Serpico t-shirt. If you do read my books, and if you have read my books, the very first book, Las Vegas on $12 a day, there's a character named John Prescott. And his nickname when he was doing combat-y type shit was Serpico. Well, there you go, right? Anyway, my newest, hi, I'm Mike Bennett. My newest, latest, and greatest is this book here, Memoirs from the Druze. So technically, this is a little bit different for me. This is 3 short stories. The first story is like 100 pages. The next story is, 60 pages, and, whatever. Figure out the math. So it's actually 3 short stories that deviates a little bit from the primary of the Warlock series. Warlock is still involved in the background. He's the guy running the show as far as what operations are being done, what operations are not going to be done. The book is still kind of being done concurrent with other activities ongoing in the series. So the Warlock's a busy guy, but he doesn't have to do it. He's the brain, the strategy guy in the background. He sets the course, he does the coordination, and then he hires the right kind of people to perform the work itself. That gives him a lot of flexibility to get a lot of things done all over the world. Another thing that's different in this new vector of the series is there is some operations being done like in Lebanon or in the border of Turkey, but the primary concern is our hemisphere. So stuff in Venezuela, for example. So that's very different from preceding books that were always elsewhere. And here's another hint as far as where the series is going. Because of world events and where we are, and we have a new administration, which certainly does make a difference. Prior to, if you go back to the origin, Rose Hips in June, that book, and you follow the way through, the Warlock character was very strict in adhering to the charter he was given by Ronald Reagan. And that was operations outside of the United States, OCONUS stuff, nothing internal to the United States. He's had a change of mind because of kind of some of the things we're talking about, the direction of the country, where it's going, and where does the country need Warlockian influence? Now we're getting into the realm of domestic activities, which is a departure completely from the previous books. So right now, this book, we're bringing it to our hemisphere, to things that, what we're doing in Venezuela against Hezbollah in our hemisphere certainly has you'll read it, you'll see, matters to us here in the United States, what's going on internal to the United States. The next book is going to be much more internal to the United States. And I'm going to get fucking evil is what I'm going to do.
It's not evil. It's doing
it'll be a little bit different.
It's pulling the Band-Aid off.
It's ripping the Band-Aid off and using again the general covert discrete
Fake
operations, hopefully low vis, usually non-attributive, attributed to someone else. You know, some of the things I do in this thing, some of the cyber activities are clearly meant to frame Iran.
Yeah.
So it's consistent in some of that operational stuff that I've done. Locationally, it's changed. And the next one is going to be a little bit more really close to home, kind of immigration related type issues, way outside of what
you're
elected before.
And you're getting them. Tell them what you're telling me beforehand, not on audio, but an audio version.
Yeah.
Because that, for my generation, for people like me, that is like the biggest impotence to me reading a book. Is like,
yeah,
I told you,
physically
I
reading
you all the books they sent me. I go, that's fine. I need a PDF. I can have it read to me.
Generational thing.
Exactly.
I gotta
take the win where you can.
I can't. We were talking. I'm not one of these guys who can go to work and listen to music.
No,
you know, I can't do that. I have to focus on what I'm doing because I'm stupid. You know, I'm a booger eating moron, and I need to. This is what I'm doing. This, you know, I don't have 3-dimensional thinking. I have to focus.
See, my shit's off. A lot of the stuff I do is autonomous, making thumbnails, sending out an email. So right. I go, well, let's kill 2 birds with 1 stone. But it's going to be
good on you. So
yeah.
To make account for these people,
these millennial
millennial types and worse. What I have done with this book, I guess I kind of started with this. I think Amazon wrote to me and said, "Hey, do you want to do an audio book?" You know, and it's AI. And I was telling Tommy, you know, when you read, just say the beginning, the very first couple paragraphs, and I'm not really getting super geek technical, you know, as I start this thing. The heat prodigious, his world was aflame. In one corner of his room, he cowered against the bulwark of a crumbling wall. The plaster scorched, the floor crazily canted. See, I'm not a reader. Planted against a scrap of kerosene rug, his right foot was as ruined as the entire left side of his little body. His onesie was rent. It fumed as he instinctively rolled into put out the fire that had burned his flesh black and bubbly. The point being, AI could read that. Not me. I'm not a voice actor. I'm a writer. I write shit. I write well. I will ping you. You disagree with me.
I'll fucking kill you.
But
the
AI machine, I mean, perfect dramatic inflection on each.
Whereas even a couple of years ago, somebody that I told you, if I couldn't find it on Audible,
it would sound like
and then
yeah.
7, and it said the name of the page,
yeah.
8, and there's no you can't tell. Versus, so I didn't even know that was possible now that there's actually like inflection.
But this, I mean, totally great. Now you're going to get to a point in the book where, you know, I literally, it's meant to be read. You know, just you read the page, you see it, okay, you're not going to fucking read it. You know, IP address, 131 point. AI
will read that.
You know? And they're reading this whole block of.
I've had it.
So, you know, it's got some limitations.
It's still, to me, it's still preferable because what it does is it expands the number of guests.
And that's what we were talking about. So, you know, Amazon will give me this thing, you know, a chart. And I can hit a field and say, okay, show me print books, and it graphs it out, you know, on what day, on whatever period of time you're looking. And then I say, okay, unclick that, show me audio books. Show me Kindle, Kindle, the ebooks.
Yeah.
And you'll see, a distribution that's roughly probably 45% print books. And then the two digital things, audio, ebook, are about half and half, which would mean, I'm losing maybe almost a third of people that would not read the book. I don't give a shit what format it, and they don't read it. They want to hear it. So it is available. All my books now on Amazon are available on these AI people, machine reading. And I've listened to the extract that they give you, to preview it, and of course they pick a good part, I guess, and it sounds fucking great. It sounds fucking great.
That expands your potential. Yeah. I mean, like I say, for me, the only limitation to me, like not having a guest on for a book, is if I can't have it read to me. Like I'm not. I'll have anyone on.
Don't have me read, because I can't fucking.
I'll make you read. Well, that's actually what we're gonna do from now on. You're gonna sit here.
I suck.
Force feed you.
I'm a voice actor. I'm Mike Bennett, voice actor.
I had on a voice actor one time because I looked at the fucking Audible title.
Yeah.
And I thought I was contacting the author.
Yeah. It was a dude.
Comes on. I'm like, great book. He's like, what book? And I'm like, we ended up having an hour and a half conversation. It was fucking great.
So Rose Hips in June, I had the publisher had, a person they hired to read the book, and I had to. They sent me. I didn't interview the people, but they sent me. Here's a clip. Here's a 30-second clip from Joe. Here's a 30-second clip from Bill. Whatever. And they sent me, 8, 10 people, and it's just like reading a resume. Frankly,
you can see which one you like.
You get an immediate. Fuck that guy sounds like, whatever. No. Fuck no.
These red tips in June. Yeah. Fuck off, dude. This is just the warlock is a bad daddy. You're like, fuck, you get the fuck out of here.
You're gone. So I mean, they were immediately fired. And then I get to this one guy, and I could swear, listen to his accent, he sounds like he's at least from New England.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. And I listened to him, and I was like, wow, he's got a pleasant voice modulation. And one thing I was looking for is, I don't want someone that overacts. This isn't fucking Shakespeare, dude. Yeah.
It's not high school drama.
It's
read the fucking book.
It's just
read the book.
Christ, and some of this shit, the IP addresses, just calm down. No, it doesn't have to be, and bam, yeah, I really liked him. And then he would probably cut like a chapter, after so much, and then the audible people would say, okay, here, listen to this. So I'd have to listen to like 4 or 5 chapters end to end. And, I did that once. So I listened to 5 chapters of this guy reading my stuff. And I had the book out, I read along with it. And, there were probably a couple acronyms you might not have. There's only a couple, JSOC. Sure. Okay. You've got to say that one right. Yeah. Okay. Don't fuck that up. So I listened to that. And after that, I said, just keep doing what you're doing. You're fine. You're good. I really like it. Whatever you're doing, just stick with it.
Not to pivot from the book and where to find and all that shit. The warlock has to exist, I think. And so you've been on for we've
talked about this before.
Yeah, no, we've done a lot on the show, and I think to me it makes sense because it's also the only thing that when you look at like every Cold War contingency plan for kinetic fights, from being SOSIS to Neuro, the underwater NRO, to chemical attacks, to ICBMs, to Ebola, to all these different forms of warfare. Eventually, I would look at something and go, yeah, well, one of those forms of warfare would be cultural warfare, it would be demographic warfare. Why wouldn't it be? And that leads to the thought of, well, the monkey can do the Rubik's Cube so many times before it starts to figure it out. After a while, a nation state's going to go, we probably can't invade. But what you could do is, like New York, you could slowly and even just to get to that point takes generations of conditioning. to where you start to have these people. Or who's the fucking the bitch who said 9/11 is a day where something happened? Like Omar.
Well, that specifically I was talking about before with the
and then the other guy, the minute the guy,
the loyalty to Somalia.
That was a different guy.
She stated it.
Yeah.
She stated that explicitly.
Oh, okay, I thought it was
my job. There was another one recently said the same sort of thing.
But case in point,
fucking break, man.
Case in point is it takes a long time to even condition a populace to, because like you said, if this happened in the 70s, you may be like, you fucking commie. But even now, it took a long. You have to respect your enemy. It took a long time to condition us to get to a point where. So then, what would you do? Well, I imagine if I was a foreign nation state and I understood that you can't take it down, I would want to get. I would want to get politicians in who would slowly dismantle the U.S. through their actions. So eventually, you'd have to conclude that the politicians themselves are not going to be the self-corrective mechanism, which is why I look at the warlock as no more of an extension. That it's a human form of a nuclear missile silo. I go, it's separated.
So, and this is just me. It is very reflective, and I want it to be. It's the way I feel. I love my country. I'm not going to say, oh, we're the best country in the world. I love my country, period. And when you think in terms of, say, the warlock, and just things that I've seen over the past, say, 40 years, I don't think we're not hitting all 8 cylinders.
No.
Right? And that bothers me. It bothers me that we are not performing at our highest. I know we can do better. Mm-hmm. And that can be, there's a lot of liberal kind of thought process, and we could do a lot of things that will help other. Great.
Yeah, sure. No, it doesn't mean throw those out.
It doesn't mean I throw all that out.
Yeah.
But I somehow, after we were talking earlier, I was a very young man. I was a child. I was fucking 13, 14 or something when Watergate happened. And I didn't really fully comprehend the whole thing. I did and I didn't.
Yeah,
right?
I was 11 when
I was a kid. I was a child. And I processed it as a child. So that was, that was in the background. These things happened that could have derailed me completely. Mm-hmm. Very possible, right? At that time frame, that age, mm-hmm. where I just took this whatever course. But somehow, maybe my parents, and I will tell you, the school systems, the public schools were not what they are today. They still believed in God bless America kind of shit, So you had reinforcement of those kind of principles from your family. You got it from your church, and you got it from school. So I came out all right.
So you didn't feel like an outcast like I do right now. And I'm like, why is it so bad to love America?
And that's that is a sad thing, but we can fix that. We can fix that. And the point I was, getting back to the warlock, I have this inflated idea that the United States government can do certain things. Mm-hmm. And again, we are underperforming. We are not doing our best, and it bothers me. Therefore, I come up with this warlock, and you get down to say Rosa, and I lay it out. Well, what is this guy? This is like the unicorn. Mm-hmm. In today's world, if you looked at media, if you watched television, these other sources, it's the unicorn, a guy, gal, whatever, who does what he says he's going to do. He does the right thing because it's the right thing.
Yeah, for no other reason.
For no other reason.
Yeah, right now you go that character is big.
So I mean, that to me, that's the warlock. So the original guy was appointed by Casey, the CIA guy, through the president, Ronald Reagan, with a stipulation that your successor, you will step down when you think you no longer can do the job. You relinquish command of the Warlockian authority and you appoint your successor. Why? Because I trust you that you have the judgment to find the right kind of person. All this crap I just said. To do the right goddamn thing
for the sake of
doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Period. So I mean that's maybe I'm odd to think that these people exist, and I will tell you, after 30 years of military service, active reserve, I actually have seen a very small minority, maybe.
Well, I can tell you through this podcast that people have met.
I have seen people that are like that. They do exist. And I have faith, your generation, the next generation, we will still produce some number of that kind of person. Why? Because we're the fucking United States of America, and that's what we do. It's still going to happen. It may be a small number. Will it be a sufficient number? Will it be enough? I don't know. We'll see.
You would maybe. I mean, I was going to say not even military. So I talked about military, but I mean, I look at some.
Not just military people.
No, I talk about like the doctors I've interviewed too. Like the guys I've met off air too, like Dr. McCullough. There's no facade. I've met him in like the height of COVID censorship.
Yep.
The government harassment.
Yep.
There's no. It's just their eyes are locked on the horizon.
Yep.
They're right with God.
Yep.
They love America. They love family. And you're like, why are you? And it's very simple. It's because they're like Hippocratic oaths, like first do no harm.
Yep.
And you look through them, and it's like X-raying at the airport. You're like, he doesn't have anything on him.
Right.
You're looking at his soul. You're like, holy shit. And I've met more than one.
So I was down SOCOM. I don't remember what year. Say 5, 7, 8 years ago, whatever, maybe more. The old SOCOM building, and people that have been down in Tampa, they know what I mean. There's the new, thing, and then there's the old white building, kind of low thing, and that foyer kind of deal. They have all these kind of decorative kind of display cases of all this hua shit that special operations people have done, Rangers, special whatever. So all these displays of heroism or whatever. There's one that is dedicated. I wish I remember the guy's name. I don't. I've kind of to a doctor. So he's a medical doctor in the SOCOM community, but he, generally speaking, he revolutionized the entire triage system.
Okay.
For all of the United States military, from battlefield, the entire system, all the way through. And I don't know the terminology of these kind of medical. You go from this thing to this.
You're going to survive.
The casualty collection point to
yeah,
all the stuff. And it's. I think it started as simply as the tourniquet.
Yeah.
It kind of started there. How do I stop the fucking bleeding?
Yeah.
And he designed essentially what we all know is a one-hand kind of tourniquet thing. But the point is, they gave him homage equal to all these, high-speed killers, shooter, operator, fucking dude kind of thing. He's got this whole display.
Because in the view of the whole in the view of it as a system, he was a gear unlike
huge,
no different than anyone else, no different than Dale.
Huge.
You're a gear in the machine, and the machine works as one.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not always the super sexy.
It's not always Dale.
Yeah, those kind of guys. The guys jumping out of 30,000 feet at night under oxygen, doing all this really cool shit. You go back to the books. I do try to give credit to the people I call the enablers, on the intel side specifically, or the logistics side. Running clandestine or the covert logistics is a skill set kind of all by itself.
Sure.
To enable these guys to come in and they might do something in Libya, right? So there's this whole spectrum. And I tell you, I have been remiss, and like I said, I'm kind of pulling it in more towards um, domestic type stuff. And I really need to pay some respect, I think, to the Coast Guard. You know, a counter drug, or counter, not insurgency, but a counter rat lines of I mean, there's a lot of people that have done a lot of very, very serious work that are technically are special operations kind of people, and they don't get the love and the limelight's not on them. That's not the sexy stuff. Sexy stuff gets all the wow, you parachuted into such and such, or
in terms of the can you produce the unicorns in the number? I know, again, personally, just through this podcast, that courage is contagious. And it's like an organic chemistry. It's called a point of nucleation. So you'd have like a super saturated solution, right? It's water where you put like the absolute maximum amount of salt in before it starts to pool on the bottom. So it's murky.
Yep.
There's not quite.
I kind of remember this from high school.
And so what you would do is you pick this, they
sort of.
literally call them chips. It was just tiny little like blue things, smaller than your fingernail. I think they looked like a little Dorito. And you put it in there, and then you like wobble the glass, and all it would take is like one or two of the salt things to grab onto it, and then the entire thing would
crystallize.
Like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a point of nucleation, meaning that it had the capacity, the environment was ready, but who was going to kind of take their nuts out and be the first point? And seeing on the podcast, like meeting these different people, you guys see
he's like a fucking writer.
I know, but
he's a metaphor that.
But like Dr. McCullough, so medically, Dr. McCullough or Dr. Hatfield, militarily, guys like Dale or Clay or even just whatever, the Baz, the guys fighting the human trafficking. Some of it is outright skill. Like I can't do what Dale does, bar none, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of it is just like, well, what can I do? Like I'd always have people be like, well, what do I do? And I'd be like, dude, like the height of censorship, like 2020, 21, I'd be like, share the fucking thing in your group circle, man. And like, and they'd be like, well, why? And I'd be like, do the right thing.
So to put it in a military context, okay, we could talk about leadership in the military. Just say the Army, because that's where it came from. Army leadership. And I will tell you, there's a lot of people, they hear that and they equate that with who?
I don't know.
Officers.
Okay.
All right. That's what will come to their mind. Not so. Not necessarily. Not always the case. Is it good to have really good officers? Yeah. Shit. Yeah. Policy type stuff. Well, who enforces these things? Who makes this shit happen? NCOs. And there's a shitload more of them, by the way, right? So just mass, there's more of them. They can affect much larger population, really. So the right leadership at the right moment, I don't give a shit who it is, can sway an entire something that's chaotic.
Yeah.
And that's all it takes. And people witness that, they live through that event. They are affected probably for the rest of their lives.
Oh, to your core.
And they could be a private, they could be a PFC, they could be a specialist, they could be an E5. And an E5 just watched this E7 do this insanely courageous act. And he cannot help himself or herself to probably say, I want to be like that dude.
I want to mimic that.
If I can replicate that in my life, I will. Because what did they just witness? I am alive this moment because of that man's actions.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've had 10, 20, 30 years of something that can be reversed. This can be reversed, applied to enough force at the right place, get some success, and all of a sudden, young men are growing up not thinking anything like, oh, that's toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
They understand the difference between, and there probably are toxic, whatever dudes.
Sorry.
There are guys that are just
beat the shit out of their wife, whatever.
They are
Fuck those
douchebags.
guys. Yeah, fuck those guys.
they're not really men.
But that's not the same.
But
as
that
being a
is
man.
not the same as being pounded through media constantly. Movies,
Yeah.
you know, here's the what's the fucking the fairy godmother person in Cinderella is no longer a woman person, fairy godmother. It's
Really?
yeah, it was Billy something, black guy, bald head.
No idea.
In the one of them, you know, I don't know which one, but recent
Sure.
portrayal of that character in today's fluffy,
Sure.
lovely, whatever. You know, we have to make a point of everything. If we get away from that, the propagandization of these media, and we just get back to just, hey, let's just, I don't know, be normal, have entertainment, just be entertainment.
Not be a false god.
I don't do too much. I do some basic wailing on some liberal shit. But I try not to get overly political. Some of it's just kind of humorous. The second story, I start right off, and it really was kind of in that time frame. So the second story is called The Nexus, the Druze Nexus. And I just start right off. Roughly half a dozen protesters began to chant, Kamala, Kamala, you can't hide. We won't vote for genocide. Do you remember this?
Mm-hmm.
It didn't happen. In full command of the microphone and its comforting amplification, the vice president, perturbed and annoyed by the interruption, replied with some irritation, I am speaking now. So I'm just trying to be funny. I'm not being political. I'm just trying to, you know, inject a little humor.
The leadership.
If we got back to that, it would be quite welcome, I think.
The leadership part is another a quote I've always just fucking loved is if the situation was hopeless, their propaganda wouldn't be necessary. Propaganda is very effective. I'm not shaking a stick at that.
No doubt.
My point is though, is our natural, you know, is it like domesticated hogs? If you let them out in the wild, they will within like one generation start to grow horns and like their fur changes and everything. That is what they are to be. So when you look at dudes who are like, it takes generations of being beaten down by media. All it takes is like one Dale or one Dr. McCullough it awakens something in you.
Derail
all of it. You go, what is that?
Second order, third order.
And you see us in a McCullough who's like a doctor, or Dale who's just like a door kicker. But in general, you see how you're like, that guy's standing up straight. He doesn't give a fuck. He's not apologizing for being a man. All of a sudden, 80 years of propaganda just starts to fall off, like fucking like dissolving. You're like, whoa.
Metaphorically, I was just thinking, it's kind of funny. You talk about not domesticated pigs, but the wild pigs. So in a city like this, or New York, or Boston, or Los Angeles, these things are abstractions. You know, that there are wild hogs, and they're immense. They're the size of fucking Volkswagens. Yeah. They're not little things.
No, they're monsters.
And they're in groups of 50. You know, so here we have Joe the city dweller. Why do you need, you know, more than a 10-round magazine? Well, when you're in the middle of, there are monsters out there that will kill you.
There are like,
and you know, if you have to fight back, you know, you might want a 30-round magazine.
Hey, all those oral traditions, they came from something. There were monsters.
but I mean, that's and why are there so many of these monsters? Metaphorically, substitute monsters with liberals. Okay. Because they replicate rapidly. And then you've got more of them than you, and you're at a huge disadvantage, and you've got a 10-round magazine. That's kind of, you know, reverse that.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's say that the good guys become more prevalent and replicate.
Yeah.
Thus, we have the saving, of this country. It can happen. It can happen. It may take 10 years or more.
Sure. No, this isn't a 3-month fix.
You talked about manufacturing.
Yeah. And you're gonna be unpopular when you make the call and go, hey, we're not doing this NAFTA shit anymore. But it's like losing weight or getting sober. It's a long road, but the road is worth it.
Well, again, different generation. There were no podcasts. To me, work was one job. And I would try my best to perform a job at the highest level I could as far as, this level of management or sort of thing. And then I would want to get to the next. I would aspire to be at the next level, to get that much more pay. And that was the progression for me to how did I advance was one job, but kill myself in the process of doing that job, resume build, get numbers, that I could demonstrate my capability either to another company or to the company I was at, say, hey, I want to raise because I met these metrics. The whole idea of gig economy and that sort of thing, totally foreign to me. And I'm not lazy. I've got 2 graduate degrees while I was working, all this kind of stuff, deployments. I worked a lot,
Sure.
One way or the other. I worked a lot. And then I retired. Now I'm writing fucking books. But I worked hard on this path that I set. Your generation, following generations, this idea of gig economy, multiple revenue streams, I get. But I don't know if it's sustainable.
It absolutely is not.
I don't have a lot of faith that it is sustainable. And going back to manufacturing, I think going back to that more traditional idea of us making things that people need services a much broader population where they can get that middle class. And again, an advancement. They start out as the whatever level machinist, humma, and then they're the senior machinist, whatever skills, and then maybe there's a management thing, boom, 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 boom. A good friend of mine from college, I mean, he started off kind of on that sort of thing. He worked at Pratt and Whitney, and he's worked his way up, different divisions and this is and that's, but and building skills along the way, software. I mean, I think when he started working there, I take this piece of tin, I mold it into the coupling thing for the engine compartment, whatever. He was a mechanical engineer. I designed this piece of tin to conform into this thing. But over time, he saw advancement in this company that makes stuff, defense oriented generally, was through software development, either in the tooling side of the house where you would make this fucking tin bending machine thing that was run by computer. So, I mean, that's where he saw the advancement, and he had to get the skills to go down that road. So there was a framework that he worked within, but different routes to get higher level. And I don't know how you do that if you're not like in a manufacturing or a very structured environment.
I don't think there is. I think maybe some white collar jobs, but I don't think I think you have to bring it back. And it's, when people say bring back manufacturing, it's not some like flippant, like, oh, well, I want it made in America because of China. Like, no. It's so the average dude can just go get enough for two kids
to get a job,
like a canoe
that has a path to advancement. It's
a lot of people aren't happy with that, and there's nothing wrong with that.
And it could be, they don't advance for 10 years,
Yeah.
but they're getting that paycheck. Boom, boom,
Mom
boom.
can stay at home, raise
You can
kids.
have a life.
You can have you need it, and it's not an oscillation between the extremes. If you're either on the street doing fentanyl or you're
Right.
making 90 billion a year trading currents, it's like no, it's the entire idea is like,
Yeah.
hey, like doesn't mean it's like you doesn't mean you can be lazy, but it's like a lot of people, it's like they're
So,
okay
so
with just going
if you're in charge
putting a rivet together
and you're saying, I have this entire country that I'm trying to take care of, what can I do? What things that I can pursue that have the most
at the most
payoff
foundational
across a broad,
level, what helps the most people?
majority of people?
I would go, yeah, bring back, and it might
So,
and it's kind of the antithesis of Trump because
Yeah.
it's something he's going to have to do that he will not get credit for until 20 years after he's dead.
well,
People that know, people that can see it,
I
will
mean,
respect
you
it.
can see right now. I mean, he's made the $17 billion deal with Japan. Whatever. I mean, he's made these deals. Okay, by the time you get through the regulatory thing to build the whatever facility, I mean, you're talking 6-7 years down the road.
Yeah,
And then they start cranking out the car,
Yeah.
or the whatever it is they're making, the robot,
Yeah.
whatever it is. And you're right. Going back to our boy. Okay, so 2026 is next year. So he has one term. He personally has one term to do. He's not gonna get it all done.
no, you can't.
Me, if I'm not an narcissist, I'm developing the next guy.
The successor.
That successor, perfect world, has 8 years.
Yeah,
That's just president. Never mind the other
Elected,
governing,
yeah.
So that's really my legacy. Really is this person that can carry the torch, who has the right mindset and skills. Yada yada yada. One. Now, got to get through 2026. First thing, you have to have legislators that are going to vote on whatever shit that's on your agenda. So you've got to have the numbers to do that. Okay, great, fantastic. So you've got to produce something that even an idiot can understand and attribute it to you.
yeah,
Donald Trump did this.
yeah.
What is it?
It has to be the prevalence of a meaningful and decent form of income. That's
Which comes from the economy.
Yeah, which would be domesticated manufacturing. You have
So-
to have something that the average person
So,
can go.
so what he really should be focusing right now is economic impacts, inflation, whatever. He can point to a fucking chart. Look at these numbers.
Stop all the dog shit.
This is where we were year. This is where we are.
He really does need a circle ball, go in circle hole. You have to.
So you've got to do that C dick run. What's that? Whatever. C spot run.
spot run, whatever.
Whatever.
It has to be that.
It has to be that simplistic.
It
So
can't be
that
an abstraction.
And it can't be something people don't.
Well, 94-year bond yields, and once you took it to the lithium market, people's eyes glaze
Boom.
over.
And they go, I know what that means. Yeah. Trump did that with X policy in this time frame. You could see the deregulation of whatever. The first time around, the number one thing he did, the best thing he did was deregulate. And it took, a little while. And then the economy starts fucking taking off. Because we stopped saying, oh, to make that light bulb, you don't have to do whatever, the things that are constraints to business. And they always say in Wall Street, with these, a policy announcement, the investors are still kind of watching. Does he really mean it this time? Is it okay? And then they're going to start putting capital in investing in whatever that thing. He actually meant it. He's actually doing it. It's safe.
Yeah.
I will now jump in with this pile of fucking money.
Yeah.
Go forth and do great things. So, there's a lot of things. I get it. Epstein file. I'll tell you, I don't give a shit. I really don't care. I don't care about, specific the Epstein file. I recognize that certain administrations, certain people, they have gotten away with murder. I don't really know within our judicial system because of appointees, he died at XYZ, and some federal judge, fucking district, whatever. Oh, boom. My fucking legal thing is, and we can't do shit on executive orders. We cannot do that. We must have legislation that propels whatever policy. It's got to be in writing. It has to be a law for it to have any endurance.
Yeah.
Because it will just
Look,
vanish.
it can be undone, and that's the manufacturing thing this stuff takes years and decades, and so this thing is like you can't have a big event in 2025. We just signed this, we told Nvidia they can build 100 factories and wherever the fuck. Yeah, that's all well and good.
Yep.
How do I know that this isn't going out the window in 2028? Because this
Exactly.
shit takes time.
Exactly.
These super advanced factories take a long time.
Right.
You got to get the capital. You got to find out which city. They have whole teams to find where's the most profitable place to put this. Where is it in the supply lines? What do the future markets show that you're gonna need for this?
Where's the labor pool?
It's like executive orders are like a fucking like jet ski. You can just whip them around.
It sounds.
This shit is more like an oil tanker. It's like, hey, I gotta fucking know what the direction, because it takes an hour to turn this shit, right? Yeah. And then it takes a month to go.
Yeah,
but
I mean, what I don't know what things can executive order, whatever. He does have to have high impact things now that he can point to. A circle, B circle, simple fucking charts that people can go, oh yeah. And he's got to be able to. I'm hearing, I think what I've seen. Oh, he hasn't touched inflation. I don't know. You can't. You really. What another stat? You cannot really believe what you see in media. Oh, he hasn't done. I do know. Just as an example, say gasoline prices. Very simple thing. Gasoline prices have gone down significantly. I remember driving across country. How do you live in California? I have no idea. Driving across country, I come down from Whistler. I went to not Yellowstone, Yosemite. I skied at Tahoe, and then I'm going down and visit one of my high school buddies down in California. And I'm going down, and I visited him, and just as I about to cross the border from California into Arizona, I had to gas up, right? So I pull in $6 fucking a gallon. $6, and that was April, 15 or maybe a little less than that. And I was like, I don't know, I just don't know how you live. How do you live? That's just gas. And mortgages and all that shit in California are just as nuts. Well, how is it $6? Well, they have a blah 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 something tax, save the whales something tax. There are two specific taxes that they levy on gasoline, and you're penalized if you don't have an EV.
Mm-hmm.
You're paying the fucking penalty, so that's why it's $6. Everywhere else, as I'm coming across the country, it was, a lot of places it was $3.20, $3.30, $3.40, maybe, so it wasn't at the peak as it was a couple of years ago. Anyway, there's a lot of work that has to be done, so don't make any more fucking promises or more bullshit. You got plenty of things to do right now, right from the get-go. Knock those things off. Done. And he has. I mean, certain things he has done. He's kind of stopped the influx of people crossing the border. Very good. That in itself is enormous.
I think something that to people who are have a watchful eye or who are not being intentionally ignorant, but other than them, I think it's something that's not going to be recognized and appreciated for a long time is the effect on media that cutting USA ideas had. That is such an insane. The first thing you do in any coup ever is you take control of the radio stations. It doesn't matter what Trump does in his. It doesn't matter if in 2020 there's a virus and in one breath they're telling everyone to stay home, and in the same breath on the same news anchor, without cutting away to commercials, they then say doctors have said BLM riots are healthy. You cannot have a system and people who are fucking dumb enough to believe that you cannot make meaningful change in a system where there is an echoing hall of radio stations and news stations saying.
But these people that did that is a perfect example. Deliberate, purposeful.
That's what I mean. Is what I mean is,
my God,
you can't do meaningful things like, hey, we're gonna bring back manufacturing, because for most people, that's not a sexy answer. That's not a soundbite to go, we're going to bring back manufacturing. They want to hear, well, I fucking dunked on AOC. They don't want to hear that. And so it's hard to make any meaningful change when the media landscape every night across all channels, fucking in sync, is just Orange Man bad. Orange Man bad. I also don't think it's,
no doubt. But eventually, and again, it's not going to happen in 4 years. Really not going to happen in 8 years. But just say something. It's always been, you vote with your pocketbook eventually.
Yeah.
At some point, say mortgages go down to reasonable, whatever. You can actually buy a house. At some point, people will look at their lives.
Well, they don't care what they're being told.
All this stuff. I know it's happening to me.
Yeah.
I now can go buy this house. I can afford to buy this house.
And that is so much more than.
So
what racial undertones?
Yeah.
Were you just like, I have my.
What needs to be said?
Well, and here's
what needs to be said, and people, and you don't even have to talk. They just know.
Well, exactly. And I saw this fact the other day. Right now, the number of 30 plus year olds living with their parents has exceeded the percentage than that of the Great Depression.
And again,
there is a huge pool of flame that needs to be met with, hey, do you want to buy your own house?
Well, I'm just going to tell the millennial population. I mean, you probably
my gen.
But you were failed by the adults.
Yeah, sure, but
it was the adults above you that failed you.
No, I get that, but you can point out who failed you, and you're still going to be fucking a loser.
You are where you are.
Well, that's why I look at it. You might be right. Factually, you might be right, but I look at it as.
But I will still just. I know. I can't really point to a discussion with my father as an example, the patriarch of our household, or even with my mother. I can't point to a single conversation or a series of conversations, but I know what was imbued in my mindset over the years. So it wasn't just parents or grandparents. School system had something to do with it. I'm old, man. You see all this shit? That's fucking white. That's not blonde. It's white. We had three TV channels.
Yeah.
You didn't have this multispectral.
Yeah.
You just didn't have that much.
It's a chaotic ocean of info.
It is now. But back then, somehow, what I got out of this whole thing and have brought forward is an unshakable faith that we can do better and we're a good country. And no, there's no such thing as toxic masculinity. It's an essential element. We have a system in our world, in our country.
In our biosphere, it's a yin yang.
Yes. Women produce children. I really don't give a flying fuck what science tells you today. They tell you it takes a woman with these little things in their bodies, that do stuff, and they're the ones that do that. There's no compromise to that. My role in that is very enjoyable. And that's my role, but what things can I do while that woman is pregnant and vulnerable? Well, I can go out and make money. I can provide. I can protect her from some villain out there. There's certain things I can do. And it is my role to do that, because who else is going to do it?
No.
Who else but me? That's my job. Yeah, yes, I'm my God, something is fucking wrong with me to think that way. But again, somehow, we left the path of reasonable thought, and we started dilly-dallying with I don't know what, and we came up with conclusions that men can be women, women can be, all this kind of stuff. Wonderful, great, wonderful, and a body of intellectuals kept ramming that down our throat over a period of time, and here we are with people that they believe it. The same people you're talking about that you can tell them whatever, and Orange Man bad. Period.
It's what it is it's a further, it's an untethering in the same way like Bretton Woods, the US dollar is no longer tethered to a gold standard. So 1972 going forward.
Yeah.
And it gets crazier and crazier, but it's somewhat real, but mostly not. In that same way, we have moved further and further from a tethering of reality, where it used to be like even growing up, when I had like liberal friends in college or high school, it was friends who were like, maybe we shouldn't be occupying Iraq. It was like, okay, I can understand your argument and let's debate. It wasn't that guy with a dick is a beautiful woman. You can't look at that and then not only that, and then go, and you know what? I love that
You're absolutely right.
I love that he's shaking his balls in front of those 2-year-olds. That is so brave. It's not that you're no longer tethered to a gold standard. It's that you're showing up to the bank with a banana peel and going, I'd like to deposit it. They're like, and then the banker goes, that's a great banana peel.
But that's how far. So, I mean, again, you've taken something.
And that tethering, can only be allowed to exist in a system with propaganda that backs up the detethering.
And it's this incremental thing that if you didn't stop it in the beginning, it just keeps going.
Oh, there's no one big day where it happens.
No. This is over a long period of time. And then what they think is science or what they think is factual and real. They watch CGI, they see
everything's Marvel. Yeah,
whatever. And here we are. I mean, that really, and here we are.
But the upside is that it takes a very long, gradual, and very well financed and thought out and coordinated and executed process to shift this. Meaning that the thing they're fighting is so natural and easy coming, such as I need to protect her because she's pregnant.
Yeah.
It's the hog becoming violent out in the field. So the upside is they've been slowly boiling the frog for so long.
Right.
The upside is the reason you have to do it so slowly is because it's so antithetical to the frog's existence to be in boiling water that all it takes is one guy going.
And I'm not saying it's going to reverse the process very quickly.
No.
It's not.
No, but the probability of it happening is natural.
Okay, but the reversal. Let's get back, bring things back to where they, should be. How's that going to happen? It's going to happen because of what? Because it's human nature to seek things that make their life more pleasurable.
Yeah,
employment, all these things.
Yeah.
There is an incentive for you as a person to pursue things that you think will further and advance your life.
It's like they say, men,
whatever that is.
It's like people have a misconception that like men want sex and power. He goes, men want peace. Like sex and power is great. You know what I really like? A fucking full night's sleep. And I like that a crazy guy outside is 10 floors below. I really enjoy that. That's peace.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
But that's my point is, so the natural thing is it doesn't matter how far you push it. I'm Bozo the Clown and I identify as fucking an oak tree and whatever. The natural thing is you can, and it's not going to be easy and it's not going to happen quickly, but it's not an impossible path to go.
Yeah.
Give a dude a 9-to-5 job where he has a manufacturing thing and he makes this much a year and he can have health insurance and he owns a little tiny 3-bedroom house and a white lawn on a lawn with a white picket fence. It takes no propaganda
Yeah.
It takes a little shifting.
Well, I mean,
It takes one generation to go, oh, this is so much better than
everyone wants
9 people in a commune all with neon
they
hair.
want to say, oh, I want it to be better for my children, whatever. So I can think of, the first house that I can remember, not probably the first one we lived in, but a house in Walpole, Mass that we lived in. And I can kind of vaguely remember it now. It's a very long time ago. But it was fairly simple, really. It was probably 3-bedroom. I don't even know, because my brother and I shared a bedroom. So I think that's 1 bedroom. We kept a spare for, mothers, fathers, grandparents, whatever. And then my parents had the master thing. Anyway, just the houses of that era were fairly simplistic, pretty small. I mean, the master bathroom, was,
Yeah.
this big.
No, I mean,
Not
I can remember my
not
grandparents.
50 square foot fucking marble, somehow we went from, a fairly simple home where all of a sudden people weren't satisfied. I can't live in a 1,600 square foot house. It's not possible. I live in a 3,800 foot McMansion or bigger. That's really not a big mansion, but the big. When did that become necessary to have all that fucking space? For a 4, maybe 5-person
I think it's
family.
I think it's inevitable. I think as you get more wealth, you're just gonna do that.
I have to spend it. I have to buy
Yeah,
shit.
exactly.
I have to have really cool shit so I can say
I don't condone it, but I'm not surprised by it. Is my point. What I think people are forgetting is just how much the average person, they might think, well, we need to overhaul the whole system. I think what a lot of them would realize is 1 year, and I think about like the first job I had in summer 2005 or six at my buddy's dad's house. My buddy's dad owned a door frame warehouse in Atlanta, and they just made door frames, metal,
Yep.
different inch measurements.
Yep.
And we would just go around. We were 16, 17, 18. You had to put them on pallets, and we weren't allowed to touch anything. I think legally we weren't even supposed to be working there, but whatever. And it's like we just had to put them on pallets, and we brought them over to the shipping and receiving, and that's it. And we were 15 in 2005, making $10 an hour, which was rolling in fucking money for a 15-year-old. I was making one of my last job before I started the podcast. I was making $7 an hour at age 30. I was making $10 an hour at age 15.
I mean, that's just
it was 9 hours a day. We didn't have it, so we were not partying. We all did that because it was so fucking cool to have cash.
Yeah.
My point is you think when you're 50, I want pussy. I want to be out partying and drinking and smoking. Until you get even a marginal amount of money, you go, this is so much cooler than anything else. I think so much of this shit would go away like morning fog if people just could make 60 grand and get dental insurance. I really do.
I don't remember the numbers.
I really
for whatever reason, I remember leaving active duty as a captain, before 9/11, and my paycheck, so just the salary part of it was $44,444, right, as a captain, and almost 10 years or something like that at that point. I don't remember as an enlisted guy the numbers, and the LES looked entirely different than it does now, but I know it wasn't a lot. But I lived in the barracks.
What year was that, making 44?
So that would be like 98.
Okay, so in 2025, I make about 36,000 on the podcast.
Yeah.
So that's rolling.
20,000, 25. No, 2020.
In 2025,
yes,
this year,
yeah.
I make about 36,000 a year on the podcast.
Yeah.
Now the cool thing is I'm my own boss, and that's to me is like half the price. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Yeah.
That to me is rolling in it.
Yeah.
Having that money in 98.
Yeah.
But that's my point is even now, like how much I make now, when I tell people how much I make, they go, you make that Tommy, that sucks. And I go, But even now I go, yeah, but I'm at peace, man.
No, the only thing that is not good about that is insurance. You're
And
on
that
your
eats
own
into
there.
it. Yeah.
That's really
Yeah, no,
probably
that
the
and that eats into it. But
Yeah.
my point is even for somebody like me, this is enough that I was telling you, I'm like, yeah, I don't drink anymore. Don't ever show anybody this apartment. Don't ever show anybody.
It's like that's not fucking
This is enough.
possible, bro.
It is.
Uh,
It is.
it's amazing. It's
It
it's
is.
so cool.
No, this isn't based on merit. This was a God's will. I truly believe.
Man, you got
There was no. There's
luck
no.
doesn't even come close.
No, my no.
But all I was saying is,
Yeah, sorry, 44,000.
No, well, just the change when I got to be an officer was massive.
Yeah.
When I went to OCS, I remember getting my first paycheck as a lieutenant, second lieutenant, and I'm sitting there fucking looking at it, going, "God damn, I'm rolling in it now."
I did.
And I wasn't very good with money. That does not mean I didn't spend it. I can't cook. I don't cook. So I was always, every night I was out, at Golden Corral,
But that's awesome.
Twizzlers or whatever you call it.
I still don't.
I just, I can't fucking,
I don't give.
I have no desire to cook.
It means nothing.
Some people love to cook.
Go for it.
And once I got a house, I was living in Southern Pines, which is outside of Fayetteville, because I couldn't fucking live in Fayetteville anymore. And I would grill. So I'd go home and I'd grill something, and that's what I would eat. But
well, we're going for about 2 hours, so we'll kind of wrap it up though with. I look at just what I was telling you, right? So I've been sober a little over a year and a half, and I even feel weird about saying sober because I didn't have a real issue, and I think a lot of people do have real issues. I don't want to take away from that, but for me personally, hey, I was going to the hospital with panic attacks and shit. That's pretty real. Okay. It's like, okay, so how bored are you? And I'm like, no, I have enough that the podcast pays my bills. Right now, I'm at work. You and I shooting the shit. I'm at work right now.
right,
I would like things in the future.
I'm not getting paid for this
Yeah, neither am I.
unless you buy this book.
I'm not really getting paid.
About 50 million of you need to buy this
Buy
book,
that book,
and then
or
good.
he's gonna kill me.
Yeah.
This is
I know what
this
it
is the
is.
nicest video. Yeah, but no, I look at how simple it's like. Well, then what do you do when you're not drinking? Well, I started to lose weight, and my bills are paid by the thing I work towards. So much of the chaotic, turbulent, dopaminergic, euphoric adrenaline rush to be like, we got to get fucking crazy on Friday, or I want a Lamborghini. So much of that went out the window when I felt the peace of going, I know I can pay internet, rent, and power this month. You go, isn't it boring? I go, yeah, it is. But you know what? It's peaceful.
Well,
I can't help but imagine I'm not unique as a 35-year-old dude in that mindset.
Probably not. I'll just tell you.
My point is
I'll tell you.
My point is the domestic manufacturing point I'm talking about, where instead of podcasting, where you can just go, I'm not sweating bullets the first of every month, wondering how to pay rent.
Right.
I think that's what most.
It's not a bad thing.
Well, I think that's also all most dudes want.
Well,
not all dudes.
Say dopamine and
the crazy roller coaster.
Combat's a long time ago for me.
That's different. That's you're young and you're a dude and you need it.
Yeah, you're doing.
I get that.
Now I'm retired, and this is my paycheck.
Yeah.
This is it. I know what it is.
Yeah.
It comes in.
Yeah.
I live very easily within that. I still have 401k stuff.
Yeah.
I really haven't even touched.
Yeah.
And I do a lot of planning and thinking about how do I minimize costs.
Cost, risk,
and like you said,
keep the
there's peace.
That's what I mean.
I'm not fucking around with climbing the ladder,
no,
trying to make rank, trying to get to this position, trying to do this, trying to do that. Yes, it's boring.
Yeah, but
and to not be boring, have my I go and I sit behind a fucking typewriter, computer thing, and I write books. I do want to say something about that.
Yeah.
That I don't think I've mentioned before. When you buy this, and you will buy this.
Yes, you will.
This is That is a picture of my mother. Back when she was like 5 or 6 years old. And next to it is a thing called Oars of Hope. And people that have read my blog or different things know that several years ago, my mother died of dementia. The previous books, the proceeds of the sales of those books would go to Special Operations Warrior Foundation down in Tampa, to that charity. With this book and the series itself, as I progress down the pipeline, goes to Alzheimer's Association through Oars of Hope. So my brother has started this Oars of Hope thing, charity. And in fact, we're going to be in Biddeford. There's the River Walk thing. I say brother, fraternity brother. But a very good dude. So now my orientation is more towards Alzheimer's. And I think I have the dedication in the book, and that's what I'm explaining is that's where the money goes now, a little bit nearer and dearer to my heart, sort of thing. So sometimes I have to make that distinction where people are like, oh, you used to give your thing to Special Operations, what happened? Well, pretty fucking good reason for it.
Yeah.
I guess.
No, I mean, in the same way that, I lost my older brother to suicide in 2014. Same way, so I got to Clay Martin, I'm sure you talked to, whoever the fuck, Green Beret guy. He does, and now he does a bunch of stuff with psychedelics for PTSD for guys who are suicidal. And it's not a silver bullet, but it's actually pretty profound.
Yeah.
And that's why I have him on. And that's why I discuss this stuff, is because it's big picture. You get away from the crazy young 20s, go fucking nuts. You want that rush you get to here, and it's boring, but boring is good. It starts to lead to stuff like that, to where you go, it's not just boring and peaceful. It also has allowed me to crystallize what's important in life. I wouldn't mind kind of shepherding people to that.
Yes.
Even if it moves it 1% of 1%.
Goes back to leadership, right?
Which goes back to it's the
Can you mentor somebody? You see them, they're on a path in their life, and you're not being judgmental, but it's not a good path.
Yeah.
Can you change that person's vector by intervening?
Yeah.
In a helpful way, and let's say you do. You just changed a person's life. They may or may not know that now.
Yeah.
They come to the realization later and be appreciative, but
Yeah.
So there's your pay. There's your payment.
And that's kind of how I look at it. Is one of my favorite quotes is a society grows great when old men plant trees whose shade they know they won't sit under.
Exactly.
It's no longer what do I get?
Right.
You go,
yes.
It's going to be now. Is talking about mental health awareness on my show, is that going to bring my brother back? Nope, he's dead.
No, but you're planting the seed for someone.
And will I even know somebody who's prevented? Probably, statistically, probably no. It'll be someone I don't know. It'll be somebody who listened to the show, who did a thing, and it led to blah blah blah. Doesn't matter because I go, that would be fucking awesome if that had happened 20 years ago.
Yep.
And I still had my brother.
So the Special Operations Warrior Foundation is pretty easy. When they started, their thing was to fund the offspring of a fallen soldier's, in battle, fallen soldier, to go to college.
Yeah.
So the son or daughter, they say, here's your check.
Yeah.
Go to school.
Yeah.
I think they branched off a little bit. They do a little bit more than that now, but it's a pretty fucking simple concept.
Yeah.
And they're all people in the special operations community. In this case, that's where the money goes. And there was just one just recently that had graduated. So the kid's father had died, I think in Iraq, numbers of years ago. And the kid was, very young. Grew up, so then he's 18 years old, whatever it goes, and he had just graduated for whatever university, this young man in this case, and he's just like, I really almost barely knew my father, because I was so young when he died. And, just a lot of he was very emotional about it because he knew it came, still his father, right? Regardless. And he was very emotional and appreciative of this gesture from this charity that gave him the money to go to school. And he actually, I don't remember what it was. It wasn't basket weaving, but it was a degree that mattered. He was going to get a job. So you never know when you're getting into charity work or you're getting into those sort of things. I did go to Walter Reed when I lived in Maryland several times just on my own, just just to visit soldiers. And the state that some of these guys were in, you're talking to a guy who is so disfigured. It was a hard thing to do, but something I wanted to do. And then, conversely, I remember meeting a friend of mine down in Bennett, and there was this fucking loudmouth dude at this party we were at, and he was bragging about how he had fucked over the VA, and he was getting this disability
double dipping.
Motherfucker had all his limbs, everything. There wasn't a damn thing wrong with him, but he had convinced whatever. And I just sat there and I said, my God, man, how can we have on one hand this person, and on the other hand this other guy? Perfect example, Braxton McCoy. Guy's a fucking hero.
Yeah.
Look at what he is doing now. If you don't know, Braxton is kind of spearheading this whole, the government wants to sell all the land in the West, the public lands.
Yeah.
Mike Lee, I think, is the senator that was spearheading that, and Braxton and very few others, put the kibosh on that.
No,
but you look at what happened to Braxton. He came back, remade himself, totally remade his life. You got that kind of guy, and then you get this guy. I mean, I fucking despised him with every.
I don't think you can
ounce.
I don't think you can have one without the other. I think both spectrums imply each other. When you meet like the heroic unicorn guy, that implies the other guy.
There's a guy in the other.
That to me is as natural as like sunlight implies darkness.
True, but again, truth is going to prevail.
Oh yeah,
we're going to win this goddamn fight.
No,
this country will come back, and it's just going to take a handful of people that apply themselves to the problem, solve the fucking problem, and then we move forward. Going back to what you were saying, all this, you know what's going to happen? It's going to create inertia. There's going to be success. People will go out and they see, I can buy a house. I can do this. I can do that. And this might be 10, 15 years from now.
It will require less courage to say, I think this is wrong. It'll be easier to go, yeah, man, you don't have to be the black sheep and go, I think it's wrong that we have no southern border. 15 years, it'll slowly become cool to be like, what, you don't want a house? You fucking pussy. Get on board with your own house. It'll create inertia, and it'll become easier and easier to join the movement.
And then people will be like, I don't even know where the fuck this came from. Where did this shit come from?
Then slowly,
So
no,
have faith.
No, we will.
We will get there.
No, we will.
Excuse my emotions.
You're good.
Anyway, yeah, we fucking going on for a while now.
Oh yeah, no.
So let me hit this just final pitch. This is one. I've written a whole bunch of others. This is kind of the new vector. This whole Druze character, Jawad. Going forward, there's a lot more assassinations, or just flat out kinetic killing in it.
Some Dale work.
Some good stuff there, good violence. And it's bringing it home to our hemisphere, and then eventually, here in America, the warlock will be coming to your house.
Fuck yeah. Well, hey, thank you for being my first in-person guest. 1,810 episodes in.
It's too awesome.
So the next one will be episode 3,600. 3,620. Now we'll do another one.
Yeah.
Guys, go in the description. Go grab it. It's so weird doing it here. Go grab the book.
It's on
Go grab
Amazon.
Go grab the links to the other books. You can go watch the old episodes with us where we discuss this shit. And I'll make sure to read it, and we'll do a show about that. So please.
He usually does.
I do. I do.
Which is
I will never have someone on for their book and not have the book read.
Which is really kind of cool.
It's one of the few thresholds I do have with the show.
He's like, wow, and you're like, motherfucker, actually.
Well, I do, because to me, I'm like, there's nothing more awkward than like trying to have someone on. It's one thing to have someone on and go, I didn't read your book. I can't imagine having someone on and trying to pretend like you read the book. To me, that just gives me like anxiety. I'm like, I guess I just look at it as like being like a 4.0 pre-med student. I'm like, just do the fucking work. Just do the fucking,
it's not the cliff notes. Read something.
No, not even just read the fucking book.
Read a couple chapters.
Well, how can I read a book? Well, hey, if you think you're a slow reader, instead of saying, hey, Mike, you want to come on tomorrow? You go, hey, how about, what's the 13th? You go, how about September 13th? You go, I can do that. And then you go, okay, now I can read.
Yeah.
That's what I fucking say to people. Yeah, people always comment on that you actually read the book. I'm like, it's so sad that people are like impressed by it. I'm like, that should be the minimum.
Not the case. I mean, generally speaking.
I don't. I mean, whatever. Fuck those people. So that's how we'll end it. Read the book or fuck you.
There we go.
We're wrapping up with that.
Cool.
All right, hold on. I'm gonna stop on here.
Lord, man.
You can see all the background. So you hit